I'm wrestling's best musical diva, the Fighting Siren, Shaloncè Royale! And I want to welcome you to the Shakkas Den. Yes!
What is up, everyone? You are tuned into the Shakkas Den, of course, and we have the most creative, positive, crazy people in the world of professional wrestling today. Of course, I have the pleasure of sitting down to talk to for the first time Shaloncè.
Yes.
She is here, the entity, the being. Listen, she might sing for us. You don't know. How are you? What's been going on?
I'm doing really well. I guess what's been going on is just trying to live and breathe and live the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. So let's get into it. What's the dream for Shaloncè?
Being a professional wrestler, the first opera singing
Yeah,
professional wrestler.
I love that. How do you balance your voice, and what was very special about wrestling and tying your voice to the world of getting in the ring and cutting promos and having a character?
Hmm. Oh, that's a loaded question because there's so many things that went
Yeah.
behind how Shaloncè came to be. So I'll try to give you like a good abbreviated version. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to stop me because it's kind of interesting. But I always loved music. Music just was something in me even before I actually came into this world because my mom would say, like back in the days, they had these like the headphones that we have now, but they were like skinnier and you can kind of put them over your stomach. That's what my mom did for me. So I came in, well, actually, I can't say I came in singing because apparently I came in quite silent because I guess I was wondering why I was here. But now I know why I'm here. So I always loved music. I did it throughout school. However, I was also a sports person and they just always clashed. Like like in elementary school, I had to choose and I ended up choosing sports. Middle school, I had to choose and I somehow end up more or less choosing music. High school came and I chose music because I knew that was going to get me to college. So fast forward, after I was graduating from college, or well, during me actually going to college, that's when I discovered jujitsu and judo. I was engaged, the relationship was falling apart, and he was like, well, let's spend some time together. You can come to judo and jujitsu. And I low key think that he was thinking that I wasn't going to take him up on that offer. But you know how it is when you're in love, you're like, oh, I love him. Of course, I'm going to do whatever. And I fell in love with it. And he stopped and I kept going. And when I was in my senior year of college, a friend of a friend saw me comment on like a post about judo and jiu-jitsu. And they're like, hey, why don't you join our backyard wrestling promotion? It's rare to find girls that actually have a martial art background or willing to get rough, because martial arts is not like a pretty sport. And I said, look, let me graduate and then I'll think about it. And I'm a person that I like to keep my promises. So I thought about it and I thought it was a good opportunity to lose the weight that I gained in college. And because this backyard wrestling promotion had like 20 years of like backyard wrestling like footage. And they were always uploading it on YouTube. So they had a pretty good like following and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to get cute for YouTube. People are seeing me beat up people. And I did my research for it and I decided to do it. And then I'm like, wait, I'm like breaking my neck and almost dying for free. Let me look into being an actual pro wrestler. So I did that. But what their singing came in at, fast forward, I was actually on Dark AEW Dark number 6. So that was back in the day when we originally had entrances. Um, it was like a big deal because again, it's dark number 6.
Were
And
you
I think
guys
I'm the first person.
were you guys in Jacksonville at that time?
I was no, it was a North Carolina. I think it was Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And that was the dark that Swole got signed. Which I want to add, I called it out. I told her, I was like, look, this is gonna happen. And it did. I'm like, look, I'm speaking it. But yeah, no, that was dark number 6. I think I was probably the first person from Georgia to even be on dark. I believe so. Definitely the first female. Um, but yeah, so I did that. I did my job. I thought it was great, and I didn't hear anything from that. And I'm thinking, dang, it must have been bad, or you know, what's the deal? You know, I'm talking to QT. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? And nothing was really being said. I and then like that was 2019, I believe, and 2020 rolled around, and he was just like, "Well, no one spoke bad of you and or good. Like it pretty much I hadn't been mentioned." And I sat there and I was thinking, I'm like, why is that? Like, why aren't people? Because at the time I was going by Shalandra, which is my real name. So I'm like, why isn't anyone talking about Shalandra? I'm pretty unique. I'm a musical wrestler. And then I went back and watched it from an objective point of view, and I'm like, I didn't really stand out. Cute, wig was cute, outfit was cute, but I just did my job. Like it was to get Nyla and Leva over for their story. I it wasn't spectacular. You know, I just literally did my job. So I was like, I need to find a way to stand out. How can I take this music gimmick to the next level? And I was actually kind of like going through a depression and whatnot in like 2020, like a lot of the world was. And my feelings were really hurt because again, I had dreams of going to AEW at the time, and you know, I won the American Dream, like Dusty Rhodes American Dream scholarship. I had all that going on. So I'm thinking I had like a ticket to get there. I just needed to keep putting in the work. And to learn the fact that no one was even bringing me up in the locker room or anything, it hurt my feelings. On top of real life things too. Not to say wrestling's not real life, but personal lifestyle was falling apart, wrestling was falling apart. And I just remember the time that I worked for corporate America and didn't have to worry about bills and all that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to hang it up. But before I do, I'm just going to go balls to the wall and just get crazy with it. And that's when I came up with singing while I do moves, singing myself out to the ring, singing in my opponent's faces. Cause I'm like, look, I got student loan debt for going to school for freaking music. I'm going to sing. Like that's what I'm going to do. And why I changed my name to Shaloncè, it was kind of like inspired by Beyonce, but I didn't come up with it. It actually was a friend in South Korea when I studied abroad there. And that was the first time I had like this honey blonde hair. And then when I was there, people look at me and they'll say Beyonce. Now, I don't think they thought I was Beyonce, but I think that's how they were equating to me, you know, I guess to say that I was attractive or to say whatever. So they would say Beyonce or Nicki Minaj or Rihanna. I was like, okay, tell me more. So when I went to a club there, one of my friends was like, make way, Shaloncè's coming through. And I was like, she is. She has arrived. I'm here. So move out the way. Shaloncè's here. And it always stuck with me. So I was backstage with a friend at an independent promotion, and I was telling them my idea. I told them, hey, look, I think I'm going to give it up because I don't know. Like, I have good basics. I actually can wrestle, but it just feels like no one's really like jumping onto Shalandra. And I told him about the time that I was in South Korea, which was like the best time of my life. And he was like, why don't you bring Shaloncè here? Like, put her on a plane, fly her over. Let's do this. And I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to lose at this point because I already feel like I'm at the bottom. And that's how Shaloncè was born.
That is so beautiful. Now, do you have any inspirations in wrestling for Shaloncè, or are you going to give it mostly to Beyonce Knows?
You know, it's really odd because I'm pretty sure Beyonce wouldn't ever think that she's inspired someone to wrestle. But it was just that whole Sasha Fierce era. It's that whole like boss, like, I'm going to give you a performance. I don't care. Like, we already know her vocals are great. Like, for me, people want to say whatever they want, but I already know that I'm a good opera singer and I'm a fairly decent singer in other genres genres as well. And I already know that I'm a fairly decent wrestler, but I do what I want. And that's how it is for Beyonce. We know Beyonce can sing riffs for days, but when we go to her concerts, it's not just for the singing, it's the experience, it's the whole performance. She can sing one note and someone's going to cry out there. She literally had a whole mute challenge that made people want to go crazy and not mute. Like, it's Beyonce. However, it's Beyonce mixed with Alicia Fox.
Mm,
Like, I get compared to her a lot, I think,
yes,
because of my selling, because she sells incredible. Alicia needs her flowers now. She's made a lot of
badly.
people look good. And I don't think people really think about her in that way, but she's really sacrificed a lot. And that's another reason why I feel like as a wrestling community, we need to give back to her
Hmm.
because, she went through some things because this business is not easy. Life is not easy. And as an entertainer, she kept giving and giving and did what she needed to do to keep giving to us. So Alicia definitely needs her flowers. So Alicia, girl, if you see this, here are your flowers. You inspire me along with Beyonce. And also formerly known as Sasha Banks, but we got Mercedes one. Like she was I think it was learning about her story for me, like how in NXT she really didn't like she stood out, but when she first started, she just needed a little oomph, and she found that, and she transformed that, and she became the boss, and we did not mind calling her the boss. And it's the confidence that she exudes. It's how she's like tiny but mighty, and she didn't take no for an answer, and I admire that. And at the end of the day, I want to be the boss of my life. And all three of those women that I mentioned are definitely bosses. And I'm like, you know what? Put them all together, and then you have Shaloncè. So
There
those
it
are
is.
still my top three.
I like that. Now, outside of those women, do you have any women or any just opponents that you want to face now in the future, past, present, anyone in any era, any company that
Like
comes to mind?
all of them. Like
Like fantasy, like you can go back as far as like the Divas era in the 90s with Jacqueline or Ivory, or even now with a Dr. Britt Baker or Deanna Perrazzo or
hmm. I definitely would love to face Jazz. I
that's a good
just
one.
think I just think she's freaking awesome, and it will be great to wrestle someone the same height as me. Because I'm 5 feet and I think she's 5 feet. She may be 5'1". I think I looked up to her a little bit. And she's incredible. Let's see who else, because it changes from day to day. Like, I welcome any opponents, but if I was just given the opportunity to just face who I want to right now, Alicia Fox, Mercedes, of course. I actually would love to face Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. I just don't know how it would act with Rhea though, because I don't know if I would be able to move. Like it would be done and over with. Hit me with a move, and I did kick out because I just wanted her to cover me.
Oh, Lord, listen,
Yeah,
that is
she
hilarious.
can cover me any day.
I love
Uh,
that.
who else? Willow. I would love to face Willow. Oh, Trish, Mickey, Mickey. She's one of those first one. Oh, and Michelle McCool. Michelle, like her. She was one of the first ones also that I really started paying attention to, because I didn't
Yeah.
grow up watching wrestling,
Okay.
but I just remember like one day my dad was flipping through the channels and I think he was watching it, and I just saw it was back when the diva belt looked like a butterfly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do that. I just remember saying that I can do that. And then nothing else until I got to video games. But I think I saw Michelle McCool on TV. It may have been her. It may have been Maurice, however you accurately say her name. It was someone
Yeah,
blonde. I
Marie.
know. Maurice,
Yeah,
yes.
she was.
But I think,
There was some mothers of the industry that came out during that era.
mm,
Um,
Mm,
that butterfly replica is such a historic and legendary marquee in that era too. Are
yeah.
there any titles right now that you possibly have had your eye on and watched and said, "Ooh, I may wanna, I could take that off of, I could take that off of you."
Well, I definitely want my OVW women's title back.
Of course.
Apparently, it just switched hands, and now Tiffany Nieves, La Princesa, has it. And I'm like, Haley, how could you lose it when I'm supposed to snatch it back from you? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Um, I would love to face Ember for her title. Ember is actually someone that I've wanted to wrestle for quite some time, and I didn't think it was ever possible. And I'm like, it's actually probably in the card, so you just never know. You may see Shaloncè, but I would love to just snatch that title from her. Wait, yeah, she still has it, right?
Athena?
Athena. Oops, I'm so sorry. Athena. Yes, she
No,
still has
you're
the title.
fine. You're fine. That's what I figured. Yeah, she is still the ROH
Yeah.
women's world champion.
Yes. She
She's
was
been going
actually,
crazy.
she's what?
She's been going crazy.
I know, and I just want
Yeah.
to reel that in. Athena the goddess, I want to see how well she can do against the sirens. Because, once you hear the siren song, it's very hard to not crash upon those rocks. So, I really like fun fact, when I started studying for backyard wrestling, obviously I'm watching pro wrestling. It's been the first time in years since I actually watched wrestling. And the first match I saw was, formerly known as Ember versus Asuka before Asuka got called up to the main roster. And seeing that versus the last image of women's wrestling on TV that I remember, night and day. I'm like, they're actually fighting like dudes. And when Ember, well, formerly known as Ember, but now Athena, did her little top rope finisher type thing, I'm like, mind blown. Because I'm like, I wasn't used to seeing moves like that. I wasn't seeing women actually like really fight like that. And I'm not saying that the women back in the day don't get their accolades, but we know at one point it was just bra and panty matches or people coming out in bikinis and whatnot. We know. And hey, I give it to them for that era. I give it to them. Mad respect. But seeing those women go at it, oh my gosh, it was like night and day. And that's when I was like, oh, I can definitely do this, which is also one of the thoughts in my mind of like, I should try to be pro. I should try to be that, not just backyard. I'm not knocking backyard. It has its own thing for but backyard wrestling and indie pro wrestling and pro wrestling, very different things.
That is true. That very true. Now you speak of OVW. We've all hopefully have watched Wrestlers. If you haven't, you can catch it out on Netflix. How has that been with filming? How much was it involved? Talk about your experience. What did you get from it? How did it feel to be involved? Because I know for me watching those first two episodes was a little cutthroat. It was like, whoa, like this is the behind the scenes. So what was going through your mind? How did it feel? Talk about that.
Ooh, so I guess, this would be like kind of like the first time I really, really like talked about it outside of my channel. So thank you.
Yeah.
When so I know you notice like as more of the season goes on, you see me a little bit more. Like before, I'm kind of like sprinkling into like the background, but then you see, and then like the finale, Shaloncè her little moment. But I actually didn't know that the filming was actually taking place. I was at OVW, so this filming took place last year, and I had a couple of matches the year prior, and I ended up like disappearing for like 6 months or so. So there is a little group chat that they have, and I wasn't reading the group chats. Anybody that knows me, I barely look at DMs and messages and things like that, only until I need to look at something. So I totally missed it. They totally said, hey, they're filming, and they were looking for girls. All I saw was they're looking for girls to come back. And I'm like, oh, it's about time that I make a return. I'm in a better place now. So I went up there. Next thing I know, there's cameras everywhere. And I'm like, what did I miss? So I'm going through looking like, oh, okay. All right. It's nice if I had actually, read everything so I could be prepared. But to my understanding, they were there for certain people that were going to be featured. And because no one said anything to Shaloncè, I was just like, oh, I'm a background character. So that's what I'm going to be, a background character. Um, and then I guess the more that they started filming, the more that they started realizing that there were other things and other people and other stories. But we didn't know what the final product was going to be, because anyone that knows like reality TV or docuseries or documentaries and things like that, they know they film so much, and so much gets left on the editing floor. And it was kind of nerve wracking for me because I've grown up watching like reality shows. Like reality shows are my guilty pleasure. When I'm stressed out, I'll have one playing in the background. I don't care how many times I've seen it. I will have it playing. And when I'm, feeling down about myself, like, let me look at someone else's false reality and see. So actually being there and having cameras in your freaking face like all the time, it was so nerve wracking because we're trying to call our matches. We're trying to, have our sidebar conversations. We're trying to also be nosy in other people's business. I mean, let's just face it, we're backstage, we're trying to do whatever. And then there's a camera there and you're like, I don't know, should I say what I really was about to say? Because I really want to say it, but now they're right there and I don't know if it's going to end up on anything. Because there was times we were stressed out. There were times that we were upset. I literally had a breakdown. I had during this whole thing, I had a breakdown and I quit wrestling for like 24 hours. And fortunately, I don't know, maybe people should have seen that whole breakdown or whatever, but that was not put in there. That wasn't aired. But there was so much happening. And then like, imagine locker rooms have like, there's already wrestlers in there and it's hot, it's summer. The air at like, it doesn't want to work. And then you got extra cameramen and there's lights and there's this. It's so hot. It was so aggravating. But I am very blessed to be able to be a part of that. And I'm really glad that I was, and just kind of gave me like a little insight to it. But it was tough. And what you see on wrestlers, all that's real. I've had people ask me, like, oh, was it staged? Was that scene between Haley and Danny Mo's stage? Did you really kick Ellie in the face? Yes, I really kicked Ellie in the face. But it was by mistake. It was by mistake. Several people thought I was trying to give a receipt or something. People want to see like the actual match, which the actual match is up, by the way. It's still up on Fight TV. People are like, no, that was staged and whatnot. Like, no, I I didn't say I'm gonna kick you in the face and you got to go crazy on me, because she went crazy on me in the match. Like it was it was something. That's the reason why when backstage when Maria had her hands on me and she's like, it's okay, it's blah blah, because I'm freaking out. As a worker, that's my dance partner. I'm not trying to injure her. I'm not trying to do, we want to be able to live the next day. And a girl like to eat, so I'm not going to keep you from eating. So I was so upset. I was so worried. But that was real. Everything you saw was real. I don't know if there are any specific scenes you wanted me to talk about, but I just have to tell people that was real. And what OVW was going through is legit. I was driving 7 hours to go film there. And then if I would get my own hotel, now like I stay with friends, but like I would get my own hotel and then drive back 7 hours because I believed in it. And I wasn't the only one that was, I believe in it, but I wasn't the only one. And I'm not the only one that sacrificed so much, because we all believe in OVW. When I first started, I didn't know the significant history, because again, I didn't grow up really watching wrestling, but I did my research. And when you walk in there, they have pictures of past people. And I'm sitting here like, oh, is that Beth? Oh my gosh. I'm sitting here like, ah. So I quickly learned of the prestige that this place once had. And I'm like a person that I'm like, oh, we have to bring honor back to it. So the stories that were told were really real, but there are also other people that have like incredible stories of like how we all have given up a lot to make OVW something. And it's not that we don't like, or I can speak for me. it's not that I don't like any other promotion or anything. I will go balls to wall for whatever promotion that I'm in. As long as they invest in me, I'll invest in them. But I was there and they invested in me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give 110%. And then shortly after filming, that's when I won the women's title. The filming wrapped up in like August or like August, and I got it in October. So my hard work and everything really did pay off, and I have nothing but respect for OVW, like Al Snow, Doug Basham, like they really believed in me and saw what I was really putting in, and next thing you know, I had my title shot and I took it from Layla.
You did. Now, I have to ask. Now, I don't want to give too much away just in case if people haven't watched it. But was there anything that when you watched it that was like super gut wrenching for you? Or was there anything that you saw that kind of just like made your stomach turn, or was there anything, and I know how, contracts and stuff like that, so you may not can talk about it, but was there anything that you can vaguely talk about that wasn't shown that you wish would have been
Mm. Well, I knew most of Haley's story. We're pretty close.
right,
She opened up to me, so I knew most of that story. How it was
right,
put together really was like, oh, like because it's hard to see conflict between a mother and a daughter and to hear things that are done in the mother's past, like how it affect the child.
right,
It's tough. Like that's what I didn't know was Brian's story. Brian Kinnison, he's the one that was sat in the office and Matt was like, you got a certain amount of time to be able to bring this together, and if not, we're gonna have to let you go. And Brian was also trying to spend time with his kid, but he was also putting so much time into OVW. And I didn't know that he had that on his plate. And it makes sense because we also kind of like butted heads at one point, and I had no idea. So I guess the sample that I can give was there was one time they put out a match card, and the match card had me versus someone, but it had Jada's name, it had Jada Stone's name on it. So I wasn't really offended, but I'm just like, dang, like how can we have an error like this for the world to see? So I did what any heel would do, whatever bad girl would do, and I called it out and I made my own version where I put the Impact logo over the OVW logo and remixed the stuff, and I'm like, how does it feel? But I was just joking because again, I'm Shaloncè, I'm the heel of OVW. I think at the time I was a women's champion or becoming, I'm like, and you got me mixed up with Jada? Like, how dare you? But me personally, I was just like, whoop, that was a slip up, but it was already published. So I just went with it. And I get a message from him, like, next time before you point out an error, and I'm paraphrasing, it's like, why don't you message the person first, because they work really hard at, getting these posters together, and, making fun of it isn't doing anything for the company or something like that. And I was like, well, joke's on you, because now I got people saying that they want to buy, tickets because because I'm being shady. Like, they want to come see me be shady. Like, who is this? However, behind the scenes, this dude is being critiqued for everything, and mistakes happen, and his job is on the line, and he cares about OVW. So in his eyes, he's looking at it like, now someone is like coming after me and they just don't know what I'm going through, and I'm sacrificing all this stuff, and all they had to do was have enough conversation with me, and I'm looking at it as, this is my job to get heat, and I'm finna get heat, so that all happened while Brian is like literally like having to deal with Matt Jones, basically hold his job over his head. And I'm not saying that in a malicious way to Matt Jones, because he's a businessman and he's like, I'm investing a lot of money in this and I don't want to lose it. And we're putting money and paying you. We need to see what you're doing. It's business. It's all business.
honey. Matt
So
Jones was
that
the villain. Okay.
he was the villain. Yes.
He was definitely the villain. When I say, like, when you watch it, those first two episodes are so important because it moves you in a
Mhm.
different direction with everyone's story, like with everyone getting, brought in. And it's crazy that you don't know what's really happening. Like
Mhm.
you really don't. You're living in that moment. I know for me, it would have been nice to have seen your title reign
Mhm.
on television because, well, at least on the documentary, television wise, because it was very vital to what was going on. I credit you all the time for the growth of helping OVW with so much
Oh,
creativity. Like
thank you.
every week there's always a video. You'll go on Instagram live and go crazy, and your hair's crazy, your makeup's crazy, and you're calling everyone out. And it's really good to see. What talk about what goes into that creativity, and how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it
Mhm.
going, and how do you keep it knit tight, to show everyone, this is OVW, this is what we're doing, I'm here. um Talk about that.
I just I would just literally think of ways to just be obnoxious and annoying, but also relevant. I take like social media and realize like stars, like artists and things like that, they'll go on live and they'll talk. They'll make videos about like their albums or their content or something. So I'm thinking like, well, that's what I'm gonna do. Like I'm the women's champion. That's my mentality. Like it is me. I am the show. And how can the show go on if there's not enough me? And so I'm like, you know what? There's not enough me on Thursday night. So I'm going to go on live and make sure people understand that I'm a gracious queen that doesn't mind, like, speaking with her court, or the people that trust her, and then there are just days I would feel like crap and I'm just like, look, you know what? If I feel horrible, I need everybody else to feel horrible. So I'm going to get on here and it emote and express. But it also, as a businesswoman, knows like when it doesn't matter if it's good press, bad press, if the people are constantly seeing you, eventually someone's going to want to check out the show. Sorry. Kofi. No. Go ahead. Sorry. But okay. But this is Kofi, by the way. Okay. Oh. All right. Say hi, Kofi. So sweet. All right. So this is Shalondra's time, though. This is Shaloncè doesn't share the spotlight yet, just like Beyonce when she left Destiny Childs. All right. So sorry, I
we
can't hear you.
we love all the guests.
Okay,
We love
you're
all the
loved.
guests.
Yes, Kofi is definitely loved. Kofi's
Yes.
awesome. I love me a well behaved doggy. But as a businesswoman, also thinking like as long as people see content, you can remain relevant. And I just feel that as champion, it's my responsibility to bring relevancy to whatever promotion that I'm representing because I'm a representation at that point of OVW. It's not enough to just be a roster member. Like as a roster member, we know we're a representation, but we also have different parts on the card, different parts on the show, and there's some parts that need to be seen more than others and things like that. Well, at that time, I'm front and center. When you would go to the website, it'll show Shaloncè is the women's champion. So I feel like I have to represent. So I would literally watch TMZ or something and get an idea. I watch reality show and get an idea. I had a whole bunch of things planned, by the way, before I was wrongfully taken advantage of, and my title was snatched from me by a Hollywood heathen. So, but I had so much like planned, and I still have things planned, but to sum all that up, like as Shalon say, you have to stay fresh as a champion of any sort. Kofi, you agree? You agree? Yeah, we agree. Exactly. Like we
Exactly.
have to represent. So yeah, there's times after the show I'll be upset and I get on Instagram live to talk about it. There's times that I felt great and I felt like people needed to know because if you're not watching on Fight TV and if you're not in Davis Arena, how would you know? So I gotta let you know.
That's true. I enjoy the good PR. I enjoy the good. marketing on social media, and I enjoy a good match. And one thing that you do, your character is so over the top. Now you bring up reality TV. I have to ask, are you watching anything reality TV right now? Do you watch? I have to ask one of my favorites, Jocelyn's Cabaret. Are you watching anything on Zeus? Are you watching anything? Oh,
So the my top faves that I will just go to at any time is I Love New York, any of
ah,
hers, Flavor of Love, because those are the classics.
yeah,
And I'll go through, especially when I'm feeling some type of way about my love life. I'm like, let me look at people have fun and be ratchet on TV.
yeah,
Uh, I have watched Jocelyn's Cabaret because I watched all of Love in Hip Hop Atlanta. I think I've seen every Love and Hip Hop franchise, not as much as Miami. Like I haven't watched much Miami,
yeah.
but I've watched the others. But Atlanta's my favorite because I'm a peach,
Mm.
and also I've got to work with like on shows with Scrappy. Like he was wrestling on Battle Slam, and he's really cool.
Yes.
So yeah, and what else? The other is Jocelyn's Cabaret. I also watched all the Love shows like Real Chance of Love,
Yeah.
Rock of Love. I saw that Chance did another
He
show
did
on
one more
Zeus.
chance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and rest in peace, Real. I
Yes.
also watch Lacey Skulls. She had a YouTube channel where she would bring back past people to interview them, but then she got her own website slash app where she does it. So you can go and watch a lot of people talk about what happened um, behind the scenes and things that we don't know. So those are like the particular shows that I really watch. I also like Basketball Wives. So I
Yes.
stay in the mix with stuff like that, and that's how I'm like, this is how you be relevant. Like this is my life. Like, but I would love to actually be a part of a reality show. So if there's anybody out there that want to cast me, just let me
Yeah.
know.
What would be your ideal like what would you want to be viewed as a reality TV star? Like cuz we're in the world of influencers and musicians and you do sing.
Mhm.
So how would you want where would you go? Like if you had to pick a city, would you pick Atlanta for
I
Housewives?
would. I would. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Real Housewives of Atlanta. I
Yeah.
stand. That's my Real Housewives of Atlanta and New Jersey. I don't know if I mentioned that,
Yeah.
but I think I would stick with Atlanta. It's just the scene that I know, the influence that I know,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Like I would, if I could, I'd do music or just influencing or becoming like a true boss. Like I like if I had an opportunity to be on a reality show, it would be either where people can watch me like progress, or just see like this is my life. I'm trying to be a pro wrestler, but I also sing opera and other things. And I'm talented. I call myself Jackie of all trades because I do a lot. I actually do a lot, and I just think the world needs to see that.
What's something about yourself that people would be like totally surprised?
I don't know. I guess for
Do you have any hidden talents?
uh well, I love anime
Mm.
and I'm a gamer. I just haven't gamed as much as I used to. I grew up in that
Okay.
area where my mom was like, "Why are you wasting your time on games? That's not going to pay your bills in the future." And now I'm like, "Really? I could have been making bank
Bank.
being like a female gamer in the early stages. I could have been making so much bank,
Yeah.
but I listened to my mom." But yeah, I'm a gamer. I actually draw. I used to draw like all the time. I want to make my own manga, and I want it to be, and I still do. Like I still want to do that. I just don't do it as much.
Yeah.
And I have a secret love and desire of being a voice actress of an anime. I really want to do that.
What is there any anime right now that you would like you would jump on a character or just want something created for your own?
Well, so I love this group called RDC World, and they
Yes.
Yeah, I love them, and
Mark,
they're actually, huh?
Mark, and all them.
Yes,
Yes,
I love
man.
them.
Yes.
I love them, and I
They
would love.
do. Have
They
you been
just
to a
dropped the manga. Sorry.
Have you been to a DreamCon?
No, but I really want to. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna aim to go this following year because
We all
they.
have to band together and do it because yeah, I follow a lot of their stuff and a lot of especially when they play game beats.
Yes,
They go crazy
I
on the
follow
game
them
beat.
on Twitch,
Yeah.
YouTube. I follow like all their individual Instagrams. Like I'm that fan that I'll do that. And I want to work with them. Like I would love to be in a skit with them. I would love to be able to voice because they're coming out with an anime. Like they have a manga.
Oh,
I don't know how far they are in their anime production, but I would love to be a voice actor on that or just collab. You know, they have their own thing going, and I'm not trying to like
yeah.
ruin their stuff, or try to take over because I don't think I'll ruin anything I'm a part of. But I'm not trying to take it over. But I would love to be a part of that and learn from them because
Right.
they were also an inspiration to me when I wanted to give up.
Mm.
And I really hope that one day I get an opportunity to tell them or that they see this because I was really in a dark place. And I think I was injured at the time. It's like I broke my finger. But what made it bad was I broke the tendon too. Like it snapped and snapped the tendon. So my finger was just like this. And I just thought that I just like jammed it or whatever until I went to the doctor to get seen about my foot. And they were like, your foot's fine. Even though I was in pain, they're like, your foot's fine, but your finger should be bent that way. So let's look. So they're like, hey, if it was just the bone, people live with like broken fingers all the time. They just heal and whatever. But they're like, the tendon will keep shriveling up. And over time, I will lose function of my finger. And I had gone a month and a couple of weeks without it being seen. So they were like, we have to put you in emergency surgery because I guess after a while, something started happening to the tendon and the muscle and it makes it harder to repair. So when that happened, I had to stop wrestling because I had two pins coming out of my finger. And the tough part about that is everything else is on me is fine. It's just this one finger. And you see people with ACLs or MCLs and arm tear, and I'm sitting here like, it's my finger, and everyone thinks I'm just being a baby. On top of that, my personal life was also, gone to hell in a handbasket, and I'm reaching an age where I'm questioning a lot of things, and my mom's health wasn't as great. Like I just felt like stuff was just going awry, and I'm like, what's the point of chasing a dream when it just feels like it's becoming a nightmare? And I just sacrificed so much, and at that point I felt like the people that I needed in my life, like they weren't there. And it was just me. It wasn't just the injury that was getting to me, it was just a lot of things. And then I was just beginning to wonder, like, why am I not enough? And I came across RDC World's like anime house, and it just really started making me laugh even when I didn't want to laugh. And I just obviously, with algorithms, the more you watch, like the more it suggests things from them. And I started seeing like their hood Olympics and things like that. And I'm just like, these guys are hilarious. But I went all the way back to their first like videos and saw like they didn't have much. They made it work with what they had. And I'm pretty sure that some of their circumstances weren't the best, or maybe they got told a lot of no's, or maybe, I mean, they grew up in the hood. They know, and they busted their butt to get out of their circumstances and situations, but they stay true to them, at least as far as I know. So they brought me out of my little rut to the point where I started even doing reaction videos to their stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? They got this. They got this, and I got this. So to be able to work with them or to even get face to face with them, I'm like, thank you for making me laugh when all I wanted to do was cry. Thank you for restoring hope in that people like us can do this, and that they officially made their dream, and now they have DreamCon and they have their own manga and anime. They're working with so many people. They got to meet so many people. Like they've changed history, and I have mad respect for that. So working with them would be a dream. After that, I could just die.
I know that's right, honey. Well, hopefully we're speaking it now. Hopefully RDC sees this and they start to collab with all of us because
Yes.
collaboration is very important. I think it's very important. I know people say it takes a village, but I think it takes more than just a village. It takes operations, it takes people who have strong will, and it takes courage. With that being said, I do want to know because I know I saw you. My first time seeing you was at Battle Slam. Let's say we're in Atlanta, we're hanging out because I love Atlanta. You know, what are some spots in Atlanta that you feel like everyone has to kind of
Hmm.
see, like whether it's
I,
food, you know?
because I'm a big foodie.
Yeah.
I love hibachi. I don't think that's a secret anymore. I express hibachi, like I love it. Um, and I love Korean barbecue. My favorite
Okay.
place for Korean barbecue is either Iron Age because that's the one that's just like is readily available, and most people know about Iron Age,
Yeah.
and this place called 9292 because most Korean barbecue places have numbers in their names. I say 9292 because it's closer to the closer to more authentic. Iron Age is more Americanized. Like it is Korean barbecue, but 9292 I think is owned by. I'm sorry. Oh, you're okay. You're getting it. Is no, you're making the whole couch wet. Can you step down? Can you enjoy it down here? Thank you. But it's not my couch, so I'm trying not to mess it up.
Right.
Uh, but yes. And as far as hibachi, I think there's this place in Covington I really love called. I think it's called Tokyo Express, or it used to be Tokyo Express. Like when you Google it, it'll show like the new place because hibachi can be expensive, especially since
Yeah.
2020. Everything just almost doubled, and this place is so affordable. I remember I got like filet mignon with chicken, double fried
Yeah.
rice, extra veggies, all for like 15 or 16, it may have been
Mhm.
17. But people who know hibachi, to get any type of combination with steak in it is going to be over $20.
Oh,
And it's good
definitely.
quality. Yeah, yeah. So I recommend that place. And I'm a good bubble tea person, so I like kung
Mm,
fu tea.
okay.
And yeah, but and as far as clubs, I think my favorite club that I've been to was probably Club Havana.
Oh,
I just have a lot of good
yeah.
memories there. Yes, I love
Yes.
that
Right
place.
on the strip.
Yeah, right on the
Yeah.
strip. And if you like
I
good
know.
food and you
Mm.
want like good food, but like a place that like no kids are gonna be in, I recommend the Vortex.
I don't think I've ever been there.
Vortex, yes, 21 and up.
Mm.
Great food. I've never had a bad experience there, and it's like in little 4 points, and that's what we call it. Like it's good, and it
Yeah.
got good shopping. Like there's a store where clearly like the drag queens live, but that also
Hmm.
means that Shaloncè lives there
Yes.
too.
Yes. I There was this place on Cobb Parkway in Marietta. It was called Folk, and they had some
Folk.
of it was called Folk, and they had some of the best Southern cooking.
I gotta write that down. I gotta go.
Well, no, they closed down. This is before COVID. Girl, I used to run in the Atlanta streets like heavily, like 14, 15, 16. Because I'm from Chattanooga. I'm from Tennessee.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm up the road. So Atlanta, like, but I'm in Nashville now. So it's about a 3.5 hour drive. But yes, Atlanta has some good spots. I want to know because we have to get back to wrestling a little bit. Women's wrestling has changed the landscape. There's so many different. Even for me, 2 years ago, I didn't even know um, half of the women in the independent scene that I do now. And when you go to those shows that only house 20, 25 people, if less, you really get to see the grit and the grut of wrestling, especially for women. Women have had such a crazy time in the world. You have to deal with, so much, just so much, from promoters, from other wrestlers, from even as fans in media. It's a tough time. What is that one match that you would tell someone that didn't know Shaloncè, that didn't know who you were, never saw you in the ring? What's that one match that you go to that you would tell somebody to watch and be like, you know what, I'm that bitch, like, check me out, I'm the queen, I'm the biggest heel in OVW. It can be anywhere, but what's the one match that you tell people you gotta check me out because
Hmm.
I'm doing my big.
I oh, actually never thought about that because there are certain matches for different things, and
Right,
sometimes I think about it from a worker perspective, and I don't know. I think for entertainment is when I face Kylan King. Not for entertainment, but for wrestling. Like I faced Kylan King at IWAP in Mount Vernon, Illinois. And that's one of those sleeper matches that not a lot of people know about, but that girl made me wrestle. Like, I wrestled, and I don't remember, was it after I caught COVID? So I think I had COVID, and then I had to. No, it was Raylin after I caught COVID, which wrestling Raylin was good too. But it was my match with Kylan where I'm like, if these people keep saying they don't think that I can wrestle, watch that freaking match. Like nowadays, just speaking as a worker, I've been blessed enough to find a wrestling character that allows me to showcase other people to get what I went to school for over and to save my bump cards. And workers understand that, and for people out there to understand that are fans, it's not that I can't wrestle. There's just certain things I don't have to do. There are certain matches that I'm booked for that I'm there to make the other person look good. I have a different other style of wrestling though. Like, yes, there are people that can do 5,000 flips and tricks or whatever. People who train with me, they know what I can do. But if I can tell a story and not kill myself, like, because that's what it is, a storytelling. And I've been successful in learning how to tell a story and get it across without breaking my neck, which I almost done several times. So I say that Kylan King match, and Kylan is a great person to work. I have mad respect for her.
yeah,
Her and Jada, when I faced Jada Stone, when she, thought that she could take my title away from me, that match is really good. Um, it was fun. She really gave me a run for my money. She really did kick me in the mouth, like for real. It was great. It was great.
good times. Before we get out of here, I gotta know. I want you to tell everyone who's listening, why are you the one to watch in 2023 and beyond?
I am the one to watch. Let's see. Yes. Shaloncè is the one to watch because Shaloncè delivers. Like, Shaloncè will make sure you're thoroughly entertained and you're blessed to be able to hear the voice of an angel, because the average person can't afford the average ticket to be able to, you know, witness such greatness. And they're doing that and getting to experience that amongst seeing other talent. So I'm exposing people to a world that they wouldn't have a chance to thrive in, while also being thoroughly entertained by great wrestling skill and techniques. And you just never know what to expect with Shaloncè. You're always going to get a treat. And look at me. Shaloncè is great, gorgeous, and has the cake. apparently that's been the topic of discussion for the past year is my cake. So she's there.
Wow, I know that's right. We want to thank Shaloncè for stepping in, of course, the Shakers Den. Now, before we get out of here, let everyone know. I love that. You know, people have been doing that, and it's eating the girls up, honey. Um, let everyone know where they can find you on all social media platforms.
Well, Shaloncè is everywhere. You can find Shaloncè on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, with Shaloncè underscore Royal. You can also find her on YouTube, the Fighting Siren, I believe that's what it is. If not, just type in Shaloncè, you'll find it. Shaloncè is also on Twitch, the Fighting Siren or Shaloncè underscore Royal. You'll be able to find that. Find me there. Shaloncè also has a True Fans and also something else. I don't know. Shaloncè is everywhere. I'm everywhere. Any social media platform, you'll find me. Just type in Shaloncè. And the cool thing is, you don't have to worry about the little accent above the E because I made finding me very user friendly.
You did. You really did. And that's the most important thing about social media, making it so much easier. Of course, you can follow us on YouTube at The Shakers Den. You can follow my Twitch at Nikki Bougie. You can follow at Holistic, of course, Drian Santana, my tag team partner, who Shalance has had a conversation with in a mysterious place, I will say. Um, but of course, we thank you for coming in and joining, having a good time in the Shakers Den. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later.
Later.